Hello out there, and I've got some mods to share with you today, just a bunch of things I've been working on over the past couple weeks, and I am filming outside today, so there might be a little bit of background noise. I was thinking that possibly just the natural light will help show off the colors a little bit better than my most recent mod videos have been able to show. So yeah, that's the goal. There probably will be some shadows jumping in just because of, there's always a compromise, but hopefully this will work out. Also, if you are checking in trying to see when the winners of the holiday giveaway will be announced, it will be in the next couple days. It might actually be a Thanksgiving Day announcement, just it is taking a lot of time to compile all of the entries. There were quite a bit of them, so that's awesome. But yeah, just going to be another day or two until I get that all set to announce. All right, guys, so let's just jump into what we have here. And what I've been working on recently, the focus of most of these knives is sort of trying to get consistency with color. And a lot of that has been with anodizing after an acid etch is already put on the knife. And one of the things I said in a previous modification video was that if you have a nice high polish on a knife, on a scale or a clip or something, it's easier to get color. And that was correct but incorrect, in that yeah, you can get color really easily if there is a polish, but the consistency of it is not always the easiest thing to achieve, because the main factor is the quality of what you are working on. And so if your polish isn't even, then you're going to get color quickly, but it won't be an even blue throughout. It'll be spotted and it won't be very good. And what I noticed is that doing an acid etch makes a consistent it makes a pretty consistent finish on a knife that sometimes doesn't have consistencies. So what I'm noticing with the color that I got, for example, on this Pilar, is that this bronze has been really consistent, even better than, say, like the color I get before I do an acid etch. So yeah, definitely wanted to bring that up and clear up any misconceptions that I might have actually caused. So yeah, there is that acid etch. It's like a double layer with just a bunch of speckles, and then the copper is on top of that. And this scale actually on this Pilar isn't from my knife. This is my personal Pilar now, but this scale was originally supposed to be on the one that I did for Razor Ramon, and I didn't quite get the spacing of the fleck pattern the way I wanted to, so I redid it on my personal Pilar and then used his scale for my knife. And so that's what we have here. Let's open it up and see. Maybe you can tell, but the polish on the blade is just a little bit more of a mirror than the stock one is. And then on this side, it's really interesting is whenever you are heating stuff up and you've got it, you've got the blowtorch on it, you'll see all these colors popping out, and then once you cool it down, a lot of the expression of those colors just gets muted. And so I was seeing like a really nice blue-gray on here, and then when it cooled down, I didn't really get that as much. It's mostly gray. And so I don't know, it's still fine, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. But again, this is my personal Pilar, and for me, the main thing was this scale here. So that was the focus. I got that really the way that I wanted, really like the color on that. So I think overall it is pretty good. And guys, if at any point in this video we're out of focus or it just isn't like quite right, I am sitting directly in the sun, so it's actually sort of hard to see exactly what I'm doing, but I think that the results, like I said, on camera will be better than being inside. All right, and then here's another one that I basically did a really similar way with a fleck pattern and then the anodizing. And this is the CRKT Vigil, and if you check out my my playlists, the mod playlist that I have, you can see the original modification done to this knife was just in anodizing over the stonewash on the CRKT knife. And that worked out really well, but the ano on that got ruined by magnetism. Sort of a long story, but I ended up using the frame of this knife just for a whole lot of testing. I probably anodized and etched this half dozen different times, just trying to test how it would work and how I could get color on it. And eventually I thought, well, why don't we just try to make a knife out of it again? I sort of had written this one off, and so you can see like here, there's like a line in it, and that was where like I had stopped doing a certain kind of acid etch when I was testing it. So, you know, just a whole bunch of different layers that I had put on this, and figured might as well just try to get it back together and make it a functional knife. And yeah, this one worked out pretty well too. The little color fade here is pretty neat as we go to like from bronze to blue to purple to back to the acid wash. You might notice this this screw is sticking up. I stripped it, and one really cool thing about CRKT is that it is really easy to get replacement parts from them. You don't have to call anyone, you don't have to send an email. You just go onto their website and fill out information. There's like these drop-down toolbars on the warranty page. And you just say, you know, like what model you have and what stuff you need. And so I just selected body screws and I typed in the model number, and yeah, they're on the way. It's that simple. So pretty cool with them. And yeah, pretty neat that once that gets here, I will have basically a complete knife. Obviously not a perfect result just because of all the stuff that's been done on this one before, but still something I think is pretty cool. All right, next we have the Spyderco Cricket. And this Cricket was one that a long time ago I was trying to sell. I had done this acid etch on it, and you can see like the lines, and there are lines on this side too, sort of underneath the clip though, so it's not as clear. But I'd been trying to sell it and no one wanted it, and so it was just sort of sitting around, and on a whim I took it apart and just decided to give it a little bit of color. And really interesting, I'm not 100% sure what quality of steel this scale was right here, but the color that I got on it was really interesting. It almost looks like a patina, you know, and I couldn't get it even. I've been trying to really perfect like getting an even color on stuff, and I couldn't get that at all. But I got like green and blue and purple and bronze, and it just looks really, really cool. So pretty happy with the way that came out. So again, just something that was like really, really probably going to be a whole lot more difficult if I didn't acid etch it first, but after the acid etch, it just makes it easier to get a good amount of color. And then on this side, I was able to get a little bit of blue and purple up on the top here, and then I have this copper bronze colored clip. And so yeah, I went from trying to get rid of this and not being able to definitely going to hold on to this one and keep it, because it is a cool little knife now. All right, we've got two more, guys. And this next one, sort of a little bit different because I didn't acid etch it at all. This is the Rake P831. And this was one of those, just another on a whim thing. It was sitting on my desk and I just thought, well, why not? Let's just take it apart and get this done really quick. No acid etch, just a whole lot of color. And so on this side you can see the bronze and then some blue on the clip, blue and purple. And the thing that's neat about this knife is it already has blue accents. So I try to make the pivot and this over travel stop / safety a little bit on the blue side too. Put a little color on the standoffs, just everything. Just try to hit it all. But then on this side, the show side scale, I decided to do a texturing pattern, and this is something I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of in my future mods, because it's really cool and it worked out really well. And what I did with this was I just used a Dremel tool, like the sanding Dremel attachment, and I just hit very lightly, just over and over again in a ton of different spots to make this like modeled kind of pattern. And the result, I think, looks really neat, and there's no limit to what you can do with that. And the thing that's really cool about it is you can't feel it, so it just creates visual texture. So all it really did was affect the finish. Obviously, with a sanding Dremel tool at a high speed, if you push down long enough and hard enough, it would create like a texture, a divot or something. But if you just do it lightly, you know, you can affect the finish without affecting the entire knife. So that was, I don't know, that was really neat. And something that, yeah, it took the bronze really, really well after I did it. So certainly something, different shapes and different patterns that I will continue to work on more of. And actually the Kershaw Pico that I'm giving away, that was part of that giveaway. That was the first time that I had used that technique. And so just continuing to do it a little bit more. One thing with this knife that I probably will end up doing is something with the blade. The blade doesn't really seem to fit now with the rest of the knife, so I'll probably screw with that in some regard, maybe polish it. I don't know, maybe acid etch it, who knows. But cool little knife here. And then last but not least, I have this Kizer Envoy. And man, working with stainless steel all the time, makes me forget how good it is to work with titanium. And so I just had this knife and took it apart and blasted it with heat, and yeah, man, titanium's so much more fun to work with, so much easier to get some really good and even colors. And so what I really wanted to do was just only blue right here, you know, onto this this hammered area of the knife. And it didn't really work out that way. It started to extend, and so I just decided to do a fade all the way down. So you can see the blue turns to a little bit of purple and then bronze and then back to what the regular scale is. And yeah, I ended up doing that bluish color on the clip too, but I don't know, that might end up getting polished, who knows. But yeah, I guess the whole point of just showing off this knife is just to talk about how nice it is to work on titanium, gosh. So yeah, hopefully more titanium knives in the future, less stainless steel, because it was a whole lot less of a headache to get the color I was looking for on this knife, that's for sure. All right, guys, so these are all the mods that I'm working on. I do have another Pilar that I'm working on for a viewer slash client right now, so that's going on. And then I have a Kershaw leak that I'll be starting soon, so a lot of other stuff on the way, and then just my own personal projects as well. So any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, as always, you know, let me know down below. I'll talk with you soon and have those giveaway results coming very shortly. Take care, guys, have a good one.